Spectral by Ryan Courtney. This is a new game that was released earlier this year, and it is a logic deduction game that I really wanted to talk about because when I saw it and played it for the first time, I was like, "This is great." So I'm gonna give you a quick rundown on Spectral. All four of us have had a chance now to play this game, which is great. Spectral is a deduction game which we are all playing separate teams of ghost hunters. We have to go into this mansion and we have to essentially we are looking for these diamonds in this mansion. However, in this mansion there are going to be curses, and we do not want to be near those curses because our ghost hunters in the mansion will be killed at the end of the game. The winner of the game is the person who gets the most amount of points, and you get points by either one of two ways: either A, having found the diamonds in the mansion, or B, having uh, alive ghost hunters that aren't on the board. The board is a 4x4 grid of cards. These are little square cards, so it looks like a 4x4 grid. And the way that you play the game is you put your little ghost hunters in the slots in between those cards. So, you know, if we have a card, we can put it on any of the slots in between two cards. When you put a ghost hunter down, you can then look at either of the two cards it's adjacent to, and that card will tell you a piece of information. The information that it'll tell you is one of four things. It'll either tell you that there is something in somewhere in this quadrant, diagonally in this quadrant. It'll tell you that there is a card exactly two diagonally away. It'll tell you that the card is two around in a circle, either in the inner or the outer ring of the square, or it'll tell you where on the other side of the board that it is. Okay, so there is a horizontal axis to this board, if you will. So the bottom floor of the house and the top floor of the house, if you will. So you put your ghost hunters down, and eventually we all start putting our ghost hunters down, trying to get information, writing it in our little notebook, and we each get a cool little a little notebook with pencils and things, and so you can take all of your notes down. And eventually it'll start filling up to a point where you cannot place any more of your ghost hunters because they're full. Now the way that you could move forward is that you are given a total of 18 ghost hunters in total, 4 ones, 3 twos, and 2 fours. And that's very important because you cannot break up the 4 ghost hunters and you cannot break up the 2
Yeah.
ghost hunters. Okay, so they're like that. Now, the rule states is that I have to, if I want to kick out someone else or even my own ghost hunter from a particular area on the board, I can do so, but I have to double the amount of ghost hunters that are there. So if Damien had played 1, I can play I can play 2 people. If Joel had played 3, I'd have to play 6 to get into there, and that's a lot of commitment in a game where you only have 18 ghost hunters in total, so it's a 30 of people. Now, that's how we move around the board and we start doing deduction. But the really cool thing about this game is that the second part of your action is that on your turn, you are allowed to either put a person down and get the information, or you can pass. And if you pass, you're not out of the game, you're just out of this round because you may not want to put some people down. You may not want to. You may are waiting to hopefully someone kicks you out so that you can have your one back. And the game ends under one of two conditions. Either someone places all 18 of their people on the board, which generally happens, or everyone can pass. And if everyone passes, the game immediately ends. There's no extra turns. Everyone's gone, no, we're all done. Good. We then flip all the cards over. We then put all the curses and diamonds down. We kill everyone adjacent to a curse, and then we divvy up the diamonds based on who's next to them. So if 3 people are next to a diamond over here, that's 12 divided by 3, 4 to everyone. Congratulations. So at its core, the game is about trying to figure out where the diamonds are, and also more importantly, where I don't want to be next to the curses. And it is the perfect deduction level for that really light intro into deduction, I think. And I'm interested to hear what you guys thought about it. Maybe not intro, but like the next step up from Cluedo, if you will. But it plays in 20 to 25 minutes, and that time frame is just mwah. I just love it. I think it's the perfect time to play.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I probably wouldn't consider it the easiest deduction, but I felt like there was definitely levels to what we were deducing. So in the first game that we played, there was, sort of felt like we'd figured most of it out. And then when I played the second time, it was like, I know I haven't been given that information specifically, but based on the other stuff that I've found out, now I've sort of worked out sort of different levels of it. And that sort of grew as we played, like from the first to the second game. And I feel like if we had played a third one again, you'd find out a little bit more without the board directly telling you. And I felt like it was good. We sort of evolved with the game as it went on. But the first game was like quite low barrier to entry. It was, yeah, quite easy to explain, and yeah, it was good to get started.
Yeah, I found even during my second game, I got a crucial rule wrong and forgot how some of the basic deduction rules work. So there was a good reference card, but I found I needed to sort of deduce how to read the reference card at times as well. So I felt like that could have been better. But the game itself was really good. It gave me Search for Planet X vibes. It gave me vibes of Turing Machine, which was another game that we've
Yep.
had on this podcast before, where
Yep.
more Turing Machine because you can play it within 20 minutes and then just play another game. Like it's really quick once you know the rules. Everyone sort of takes their turn and immediately the next player can take their turn. There's not too much thinking involved in actually doing an action. But it does slow down mid game when you can start to like outbid people and you start thinking strategically. Okay, I've got some idea what's happening. I can see what Knee's
Mhm.
doing over there. How do I get in on that action or prevent him from doing that? Because I think he's on the money there. So there is hedging your bets involved. I didn't get Cluedo vibes. You kind of sold this to me as like this is the better Cluedo. To me, it's something completely separate.
No,
Um,
I agree, and I use Cluedo as the example for people who maybe haven't played a lot of deduction based games outside of Cluedo.
mm,
For me, I mean, I have played and I own Search for Planet X, which I rate higher than this game. I've played Turing Machine, which I think is about on the same. I'd rate the same, but I've also played Alchemists. And Alchemists, if you've played Alchemist, boy, trying to
oh, I
understand
have.
that.
I
Trying to
love
understand. I love Alchemist,
Alchemist is
but
still there, mate.
oh no,
Alchemist. I've got both Planet X and Alchemist. Alchemist is fantastic in the right group. It's a
yes,
thinky game.
I love Alchemists, but man, trying to learn the actual just logic puzzle of
Yeah. I
is
think it's
its
a
own rules
20-minute
teach.
YouTube video just on how the logic puzzle
Just that,
works.
and I feel
Yeah.
right. And so, what I love about Spectral and why this game kind of hooked me a little bit is less about the deduction and more about the social deduction that can go on in this game, which is I've played it now about 5 or 6 times with my brother, and my brother Nick. He really loves this game. This is one of his new favorites. And what he really loves about it is what we all go through, which is the first game. By the end of the first game, you're like, okay, I think I get the puzzle now. And we
Yeah.
immediately re-up for a second game because you've only taken 20 to
Yeah.
25 minutes to do so. The second game, you start making those leaps in logic of like, well, this is all four of the top, they're all A cards, so I know what this one is, and I'm going to start making deductions about, well, if this one is that one, that means it goes over here, and so on and so forth, right? And then when you get to the third game, what you start realizing is, okay, Joel just went to that corner, and then he immediately went two diagonal that way. Why did he do that? Why did he just
Yeah.
look at that card and immediately go that way? Was it random, or did he actually just see that card and he's gone, you know what, I'm just going to stake a little claim here for maybe later in the game so that if no one goes that way, congratulations, I'm going to get some free coins. And that when that
Yeah.
moment hits, that's when the game for me just went, this is here we go. We're in now because the game itself becomes less about, well, I need to figure the logic puzzle out and start going,
Yeah.
Hamish just dropped a 4 Ghost Hunter next to that card. Why? Why would he do that? Why is it like that's a lot of commitment of your dudes
And
on the map? Yeah.
that was a big part of the game evolving. Like it sort of started off as almost like Cluedo-esque, as you said, where it's just we're just eliminating things, like in Cluedo. I've seen this thing, so I know that's not there, and then I've seen this other thing, so that's obviously not there. But then all of a sudden it's like, well, I'm thinking it's 50-50 that one of those spaces is going to be a skull. I'm not really sure which one. But then I might see one of your placements, and you're not just placing someone cheap. You've gone and placed one of your biggest guys. You've doubled on remove somebody else because you're sort of claiming that spot on the board. And now I don't feel like I really need to check that spot anymore. I think that spot's good. So he sort of I felt like it was really good. The interaction, which you don't normally see in deduction games, I feel like it's typically kind of I've got my sheet, I'm going to keep that over here, and everybody just kind of sits by themselves working it
Mm.
out. Whereas this one was very like, no, I really do need to know what you're doing because I can possibly work out more if I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think the thing that I really liked about it was the lightweight deduction, like you guys have said so far. I don't think it plays best at 4 though, because we played it at
Mm.
4, and I feel like at 4 there's a lot more luck involved because one of the guys at the table just happened to do 3 really good like search 3 really good locations
Yeah,
in
just
a
the
row,
starting three at random, like
and that was it, and that completely directed his game. I thought the stuff I was finding was good. It turns out it was nowhere near as good. And that's probably my only thing, but I feel like that's a minor thing. As far as deduction games go, the ability to just set up and go pretty quickly with very, very few rules, I quite liked it. And the thing I really liked about it was that unlike Search for Planet X, where Search for Planet X has like layers of deduction. Like every time you find a new clue, it doesn't necessarily mean you know more. It's just more likely you've eliminated a couple things,
Yeah.
and so you get to narrow your thinking, and then eventually you get to say, okay, my thinking has evolved that I can say it's one of these two things, so I'm going to do something in one of these two locations. But even still, there's always that little bit of doubt because you're on a clock there,
Mhm.
and excuse me, and that is something that I also really liked about Spectral was that your clock is based on how other people are progressing.
Yep.
So if you're trying to go slow to get more information, you need to worry about what other people are doing, which again I think hurts the game a little bit at higher player counts.
Well,
I
at
do want to play the game again. I really want to play it at 3 though, because I think
Well, look,
3 would be
I've
the
played it at
ultimate
three,
player count.
Damien, and the game like forcibly put little walls and block sections off of the map.
Mm.
So I feel like it will have a different, a similar vibe because I think the two games I played, I couldn't locate any of the cursors in any of the rows until my second last
Yeah.
pick. So I feel like that luck element, no matter the player count, is still going to be a strong thing in the
I
game.
really think, and I know I'm the only one here who has played the game at 5. I actually think this game shines at 5. And the reason is
Okay.
because the pass mechanic at lower player counts does not normally matter because there is always a
Yeah.
place that I can put my dudes. And so
Mhm.
even if I don't want to go there, I can still go there because I can get some more information. At 5, you really don't want to be throwing out your guys all the time because you don't have enough information without throwing out and your 2s and your 3s, right? However, in saying that, as you said, Damo, the timer is based on other players, which is if someone places down all of their people and someone can just forcibly drop 12 people on one thing if they really wanted to and just and go, that's it, this is the last turn of the game, deal with it, right? That is a negative that because you feel like, well, there's no ebb and flow to where we're going in regards to the progression of the game. But this is where the game says, well, you can still get points. Is if that person's wrong, he's just or she has just committed 12 people to something that will either only get them 12 victory points or knock them out of the game completely. So,
Yeah, and it's totally possible that they don't even get 12 because if
yeah,
it turns out that everyone decides to share the space, the spoils are split evenly. It doesn't matter how many
yeah,
people you have there.
yeah,
So, look, I thought the game itself was great. Um, I think me talking about luck is an element in almost all social deduction games I've played, except for Turing Machine, um, because that gives you the clues up front. Um, it has that
I wouldn't
minesweeper
say
effect.
this is a social deduction game at all. This is more of a
Oh,
hedging
sorry,
game.
sorry, sorry.
Yeah, the
I don't mean.
deduction. You meant
Sorry,
deduction. Yeah,
I mean deduction in general.
yeah.
Sorry. Um, like yeah. So Turing Machine are the ones that I've played. That that more so has that minesweeper feel where you know all the information. You just have to make sure you basically read that information and do things in the right order and eliminate all the low hanging fruit first. So like I feel like Turing Machine is true deduction. Like it is It
Yeah.
gives you all the information up front. It's just
Yeah,
you
it's
have to
good.
decipher it properly. But Spectral also has that little bit of a race element. It has that little bit of you can throw people off here and there. It has a lot of those other things that I really liked. That I really like about deduction games. So I quite liked it. Look, I again, I'm curious to play it at 5 because again, it plays so quick. So I'm happy to play it at 5 and see if you are, see if I share the same opinion there. But like I said, again, I just want all listeners to know this is based on one play. Like I'm being critical on this one thing, and I've played it once, so I just want to state that. In my one play, we had one player at the table who romped away with the game because again they picked 3 spots and knew exactly where 3 of the
They
curses
found
were
3 curses in the
straight
first
away
3 things. They knew where to
That's
avoid.
what I was
in the
saying.
first 3 turns, and that was it. And it's like, well, there's only 4 curses on the map. I can bank on almost everything. So
It's pretty
yeah,
hard to play a game if someone walks away with the game. Like it'll just be the table that's left over, right?
Yeah. But look, oh god, he's done it again. I just walked into it again.
terrible.
Anyway, that was look. We're gonna move on now because